So tonight, we have myself, Sada Gravina. Here, Dave Morrow.
Amy Jo Stewart here.
Kathy Caluso.
Ashley Berry.
Michael DeMars here.
Diane Staber. So all the board members are here. You have the agenda in front of you. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda, please.
Motion.
Second.
Mine and Ashley. Okay, so we can get down to business. So this evening, we have three applications before us. The first one will be Veterans Time to Thrive, and the second is a combination of two applications, both for the library. So what we'll do is we're going to have each applicant come up, present their presentation application to the board, and the board can ask the questions, and then we'll refer for public comments. Once that's closed, the board can have a more in-depth discussion about it, and then decide how we're going to handle the application. So the first one is for 71 and 73 4th Street, Veterans Time to Thrive. Come up to the podium, please. Thank you.
All right, and Michelle has our presentation up. That time we'll get into a little bit more when we talk about the building and so forth. So my name is David Mendez, Commander Dave Mendez. I retired from the Navy, spent 26 years in the Navy. And I was actually in front of you 2 years ago, if you remember. And at that point in time, we had a bigger building. We had an apartment complex. We were trying to, that was going to be phase one, build a bigger apartment complex that had the communal space and the actual facilities that would build the fellowship within veterans. That building was $12 million, if you remember, $12 million. And we just have not been able to raise $1 million. I'm not gonna lie to you. We can't even raise $1 million, let alone 10 to 12 million. So if you remember at that meeting, phase two was always, the big building was going on East Main Street, and phase two was gonna be smaller townhomes or apartments on Forbes Street that we also own, all the property we own. So what we're doing now is, earlier this year in February, we went and saw a financial institution and told them we want to pivot and we want to start building the small buildings. They're gonna, at that point, it was going to be around $1 million. And they loved our project from the beginning. They were willing to work with us. They said, have you considered building two buildings at once? One, to get more income coming in, that would make the building more self-sufficient. So long story short, come on, guys. Long story short, we talked to them, we had a meeting, we gave them our proposal, we showed them the buildings and all that. And at the end of the meeting, I point blank asked them, I would agree with you what you're trying to do, or, building two buildings is gonna be better. That's gonna be $2 million. Will you help us finance it? And last year, we were able to obtain $125,000 from Angelo Santa Barbara, someone in Santa Barbara. He gave us a $125,000 grant, which we still have. I verified that in January. I also talked to Senator Fahey, who's been a supporter of our project, and talked to her about it. She is trying to get us some funding, hopefully this June. And I point blank told the bank, if I could get the money from them, will you help us? They said, Dave, if you could get the 15% down payment for your mortgage, which there's nothing we could do to get around it, that's legally, you need to put 15% down, which is $300,000. We will finance your building. So with that in mind, I am continuing to go full forward, that we're gonna build this. Just last week, matter of fact, we had the tech engineers on there. They were great. You may have seen them. They were doing their bore samples to determine what kind of foundation we're gonna be putting in this building. Waiting on Fahey to get me hopefully some money, and I also been talking to some investors in Long Island and some investors, Trade Station, which is out of Memphis, Tennessee. We're going full forward. I am looking to raise the money this year and start breaking ground on this. I'm gonna let Tommy talk more about the building, and if you have any questions after, you can ask us.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Good. So basically, my name is Thomas Politti. Who knows me or don't know me? You could hit the next slide. There you go. That's me. So anyways, yeah, so I'm a graduate from Amsterdam High School, class of '89. I own an architecture firm in New York City, as well here in Saratoga. When Dave came to me for this project, again, I'm just gonna give everybody a little bit of background. I really liked it because, again, I have a passion about Amsterdam and what we stand for and how we all grew up. So my thing about this city was how do we revive it in a way that brings back the old infrastructure, and especially when we have a lot of underutilized sites. So that's kind of a core of my architecture firm, how we work in urban areas. Hit the next slide, please. So just to give you a location where we're at, like David said, we're on 4th Street. The red sites that you see are on there it says phase 2, but now we flipped it. The red sites are phase 1. The purple site is going to be phase 2, just the way, like you said, the economy of the way this will be built and structured. But again, you can see what we're doing here is we're basically reusing the urban sites that are there. How do we take that and start bringing back the infrastructure or the sense of a city, a walkable city, and how do you do that? And you have to do it by one building at a time. So that's the main goal. If you get the next slide, please. So the teal or cyan color, that's the problem, or the first 2 buildings are going to be built. The one in the gray to the right, that's the next phase. And then the big gray one on the bottom with the writing on it, that's the mothership, let's call it. That's the one we're aiming for. So as the architect and urban designer and strategically thinking how to construct this, it is a lot smarter when we're talking to banks of working. Oops, sorry about that. Turn this off before I get it running. Sorry. So we're looking at that and how do we do this? But again, we got to think about affordability of the construction, who's going to rent this, and understand the demographics of the city. Next slide. So this is the solution my office came up with. It's pretty straightforward. So basically what we're looking at here, this is the model that we're thinking about, because what it does, it's an urban impact, architectural impact, and a social impact. That's what that building's going to end up creating in this area. What we're trying to do is basically with this 3-story building is we're going to house 6 families in this unit. Basically, again, like I said earlier, what we're trying to do is not disrupt the outside. We're not looking at going at other lots and just kind of doing whatever. We're really focusing on how do we rebuild this city from the inside out. So again, it's about underutilized sites and how do we start using this as a template that you can start almost like what we kept calling in the office of monopoly houses. How do you start doing that? So the biggest thing about this home, we're maximizing natural light. We're strengthening the indoor-outdoor because if you see the size of the windows are oversized windows. And there's a big, when we look at the structure of the buildings, it's a very, very simple building, very modest, and it's a design. And the materials that are being used are also very modest. What we're looking at is literally either the white can be a composite material, like for lack of a better word, like everyone knows, like Trex, like your decking. So they actually make the same systems, but for your walls. So that's one thing. And then the gray, we can either use some sort of corrugated metal or something. Again, it's about durability. So over time, in 50 years, it will still look the same. So sort of like brick, when you look at a brick building, yes, it will have some patina on it, but anyways, that's what we're looking at. The large windows, the reason for the large windows, as we all know, natural sunlight makes us all feel better. So dealing with this clientele and understanding demographics about this clientele, and I hate to say, we all know. I mean, I don't have to sit here. We're all adults. They're dealing with, PTSD or whatever. So how do you make a home or a building in a neighborhood that people can feel part of the neighborhood, even if they're sitting in their home, they feel part of it, so engaged. So that was the other thing. The other thing about this building, when you look at it, is we're utilizing a lot of, and I hate saying this too, sustainable materials. At this point in our careers and in my office, we don't even talk about sustainability anymore. It's like walking out of your house without your pants on. I mean, you have to do it. So this will be really high, in regards to our values and stuff like that. So that's what we're looking at. So again, the affordability issue, because it's standardized, everything's standardized. The windows, yes, so people say, oh, a lot expensive windows. Yes, but on the flip side, given the rest of the building, it brings everything into our budget. The overall budget, we're looking at this is probably $1.6 million for the two buildings because we're building the two together. When we were working with the local bank that's up here, that's working with us, and we were going through this, they're the one that suggested to build the second one because of economy of means. And I said, okay, and we did that. We looked, we've got some numbers, so that's where we're at. The next slide. So I apologize. So this is basically the typical layout. So in the back of the house is the south part of the house. That's the 2 bedrooms. The long rectangular part in the front is a open up. It's an open plan. It's the kitchen, the dining room, the living room, and then you have your bathroom. And all of these apartments are ADA compliant because, again, understanding the demographics and who's going to be in here. So our goal is making it ADA. The apartment downstairs is full ADA because we're going to put a ramp up to the front, so that's easy. The ones upstairs are what they call ADA adaptable. So if we have to, if we come into a part, we need more ADA, we can simply adapt it. It's not that bad. Next page. So these are the givens, and I think everybody knows my stance on a lot of this. This is what we got in my office. So what we are, in regards to the zoning map that we got, and if there's a newer one, please send it my way. So we're downtown core. So what we end up, what our minimum lot size is 5,000 square feet. Minimum width is 50, rear is 20, side is 5, and then maximum height is 40. And then the minimum lot depth is 100. And next slide. Here's our site. Now we're looking at it. Now, everyone here can agree, we all like Amsterdam the way it was back when we all grew up. And if we look at that, and if you look at to the left of my little cyan building, you can see the footprint of the building next door. So we're building within the same square footage, the same, so it feels like it's part of the old infrastructure. The problem is when you look at the business core, I would strongly suggest the city of Amsterdam take a look back at that zoning because it's not appropriate. Because we are lucky in the sense that we're combining a lot of these sites, but we're gonna run into some problems. And in the red, here's one of the problems. So if we were doing this with one site, your minimum lot size is 5,000 square feet. We're at 2,300. You can't build the existing house that was there. So you can't build back what the original structure was. So that's a problem. So if you're trying to get back to that kind of texture of what the old city used to be, I strongly suggest you take a look at that. The next is the minimum width of the lot, 50 feet. Our lot is 30. So there again, there's a discrepancy. You can't build what's there. Again, so we, because we're combining all these lots, we can make it, well, I think we can, but that's up to you guys. But here's the biggest problem, that we're gonna need a variance or we need the minimum lot depth, 80 feet. You're asking for 100. Unless God himself is coming to this earth and making our town bigger, you ain't gonna get it. So you're always, and the problem is this, if you're looking at, and I think what's a great thing about this project, and it brings up the core of how do you redesign a city, which again, my firm is totally dedicated about doing. We really gotta take a look at the zoning and the fabric of what the city used to be. What you currently have, you cannot build back what you had. It doesn't work. So I think what I would say, and as we're looking at this and we're, looking to rebuild and that's the whole reason why when I took this project on, at my office, we took it on pro bono. And the reason being is because we're from Amsterdam. I believe in what this project is all about. But then we come across these issues that need to be addressed. So, I mean, they all can be solved. It's not that hard. It's not like we're in wetlands. Next page. Stop, that's it, I'm done. So if you have any questions, there's David.
So Tommy brought up something, and I know a lot of you here, I don't know if you know about our project or not, but Tommy brought up veterans with PTSD, which is true. A lot of veterans have PTSD. I came back from Iraq after a year there, I had slight PTSD. However, as hopefully, as you guys know, I'm not building for homeless veterans. I'm not building halfway house or anything. What I am building, or what I am attempting to build, is a housing development for veteran families. Because in my eyes, that is the problem. We are trying to take care of PTSD or homeless veterans when this is a great cycle. We have a guy who comes back from the military from from Iraq. He's isolated. His family was isolated for however long he was there. He may have some PTSD issues. Who's he gonna talk to if he comes back home and just goes back to a house or an apartment with nobody else he could talk to? So to me, that leads to maybe marital problems, or that leads to addiction, either alcohol or drugs. And then that leads to a divorce. And then that leads to homelessness, and that leads to suicide. So for me, it is a great cycle. So that's what I'm trying to break. I'm trying to break that cycle of problems that veterans have when we come back. So Tommy mentioned PTSD, so I just wanted to get that out there. I am building for veteran families. These are going to be 2-bedroom apartments for veteran families. One family I would like to help is a female combat veteran. She's the fastest growing and biggest population we have. Why? Because our society isn't built for the female to take off and go to war while the husband stays behind taking care of the kids. She comes back and the husband's like, see you later, here are your kids. So that's what I'm trying to build. So I'm sorry, Tommy, you mentioned that. I had to just get that out of the way. Tomorrow night at 5:30, I have a follow-up meeting with Patriot Hills. They're a national organization that helps veterans, getting help in everything, moving, any problems they have, they help veterans. They're out of Schenectady, believe it or not. Patriot Hills, you can find them. Janine is the one who's in charge. I'm meeting them tomorrow at 5:30. Why? Because we pivoted. The big building was gonna have commercial space on the bottom that was gonna have office space for them. Now that we're going to this small building, Tommy didn't mention it, but there is a basement where the laundry facilities are, and we are gonna have like a small little office or bedroom, whatever you wanna call it. There will be somewhere where a veteran could meet with Patriot Hills. They said they wanna help us and so forth. Anyway, I just thought that was important, so thank you for your time. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions from the board before we open to public comment? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to officially open the public comment period for this application. If anyone would like to come up and speak.
Really not a public speaker. Hello, everybody.
Hi, just please state your name for us,
So-
please.
My name is William Carrick.
Thank you.
So I own 68. All my properties are across the street from this project. And so I own 68, 72, 76 Forbes, 1 Katy Street, 3 Katy Street, 5 Katy Street, 12 Dean and 14 Dean Street, all in the general vicinity of this project. When I moved to Amsterdam about 9 years ago, probably most of the people in this room probably wouldn't feel comfortable leaving their wife in my house or in the neighborhood overnight by themselves, to be honest with you. The neighborhood has changed a lot since I've been there. I'm not going to give myself credit. I'm not going to say it's the police patrols that I haven't seen or a neighborhood watch or any of that. I mean, it's come a long way. So the parking, this was going to be a parking lot for the building across the street, and I didn't come to that meeting, and that sounded like a good plan to have some parking for your building down below. There's on-street parking, and the on-street parking is my main issue right now. You're going to do whatever you're going to do. They're going to pass this. I don't have a say in any of this. You guys are going to sign this guy. It's nothing I say or do. But the parking, if you can change it to that side of the street and make the side of the street for my side of the street for loading only, I have ample space off-street parking, park 20 cars on the lots. But if you could just make that side of the street on Forbes, just a loading zone, because this is gonna affect me. And this building really looks out of place. If you look at the other houses, I mean, like a brick building probably would be more ideal. But this is like ultra modern for the neighborhood. I mean, it's like just seeing it the first time tonight and like, wow, you know, like that's really tall, and where's the parking gonna be for your building down below now, you know? And like, so when these people come, not, you know, these families come and go, and if they're parking on the street, let's just say it's gonna be a lot of like trunks and car doors opening, let's say 6 units. Right now, really nobody parks. I don't really want anybody parking. We don't want that on the street. You don't want people parking there right now. Like, I'm not saying your tenants, but over the past 10, 12 years, I mean, I've had to walk the electrical inspector to his car. I mean, do you want me to walk you to your car? You feel safe? No, I wouldn't mind. I mean, that street, the police know that's a rough neighborhood. Grant, he's been there. I mean, back before I started doing anything, it's come a long way to the neighborhood. It's quiet now because I've been there. So all I'm asking for, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do whatever, is just to take in consideration the parking concept. Make my side of the street a loading, unloading zone, 20 minutes. All the parking going on that side of the street, that'd be fine. I'm the only owner occupied house on that stretch of the street between Schuyler and Dean. So nobody else is gonna be here. They're all subsidized, pay $120 a month for rent, most people. This doesn't affect or concern anybody in the rec neighborhood. I said this before at the county meeting with the other building. There's nobody gonna stand up against this because there's nobody there. To make any complaint, even with the parking. So if the board can take this into consideration and, try to work with me on the parking situation in front of the lots. Even when I sell the place, it's up for sale. Everything's up for sale right now because I feel like I'm being forced out because it's quiet. This is the first year out of 9 years it's been quiet. Like Christmas, there's not 37 customers coming across the street, park and turn around my driveways. This is the first year I can say, wow, it's a pleasure to live on 4th Street. It's quiet, really quiet this year. Thank God. Maybe it'll stay that way. But this, it does make me feel a certain way. I don't know who's gonna move. If it was you and your wife, or, if I knew the people that were, moving into the building, not a problem, but it's like, I have to maintain control of the neighborhood, so to speak, in a way, because I haven't seen anybody who's in this room, even on the street, sit there at nighttime, who, coming out there, I'm like, yo, what's up? Yo, watch that nigga right there. I gotta put laser beams on people. I gotta be the creeper. Stop shooting up dope. What are you doing in front of my house? I mean, on a regular basis until it got quiet, which it is now. I mean, but before that, it's like I had to police the neighborhood of that street. I mean, I just feel like that burden rested on my shoulder. And, it's my house, it's my property, it's my home. I live there, so I took, and if somebody else was just able to, to come and be part of that, that's all. I mean, that's the parking. You're gonna do what you wanna do. Like, if you can just try to work with me on that. I mean, I know it's a lot in the wintertime. So the snow, they plow it all on my sidewalks, the whole street. From the other side, they push it, and then they'll come back and push it again, and it all ends up on my side of the street. So like, if your residents are parked there, that increases my risk for them getting hurt. I gotta make sure I stay on top of the snow removal. It's tough to do that. I mean, as it is, I kind of bark at people, my neighbors, they all park across the street where they're probably not supposed to try to help me out with the snow. So parking is definitely gonna be, the only thing I have. You can do whatever you want. Other than that, it's, I'm for whatever you do.
Yep.
Just if you can try to put that into your plan, yeah.
I do remember you, sir. You actually, when I was there, you offered me your property to buy, and I wish I could have bought it then, but I was unable to.
Yeah, it's all up
All right,
for,
as far as,
sale.
I know, you were trying to sell it last year. As far as parking, that yellow square there is Amsterdam parking, that we're hopefully, we could use some of it. That, Dean Street property is 4 Dean Street, we own that, so I'm hoping to put some cars there. And then until we build the big building down on East Main Street, I own, 212 or 214 East Main Street, and we're hoping to put some cars there. So with a 6 apartment complex, I gotta come up with 6 parking spots. That will be my 6 parking spots that we're hopefully gonna use.
Yeah, and I can just double down on that. Dean Street alone has 6 parking spots.
It's not even accessible, well.
Yes, it is. There's a curb cut.
Yeah. Now, as far as this area,
The house they just tore down here?
No,
as far as this area, that's, another one that we're trying, as far as this area, that's, where we're building was Tommy's father's house. My wife, she grew up on that thing, because I was an 87 graduate of Amsterdam. I know the problem Amsterdam has, sir, and some of the problems you were mentioning is what we're trying
Yeah,
to
but you don't
fight.
want parking on that side of the street. The yellow parking lot?
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, guys,
Okay.
I'm trying to take minutes.
We're trying to take care, we know parking is an
Am I
issue.
done? I'm done?
No, you're
You
good.
keep going.
You're good.
I'm taking
Okay,
notes.
just came over, so I was a little confused what was going on.
Right.
All right, so that's all I have to say, You guys are good? You don't need me here anymore?
I think we're good. Noted.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate your time and, looking into this at least, so that there is, that would be a relief for me and for anybody who's gonna buy the house in the future. you know, they're gonna look at that and they're gonna wanna, know that, the traffic, you know, I'm sure it won't be that bad, but, just, all right, thank you for your time,
Thank you.
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Hey, I'm serious, appreciate it. I appreciate you bringing up issues now because I want them out in the open.
Real
But
quick,
it's
Dave.
public, it's
Public
still
comment.
public comment,
Oh,
please.
sorry.
Thank
I
you.
didn't, sorry.
No, that's okay. It's okay. Would anyone else like to come up and make a public comment on the record? Yeah, yep, come on up. You can please come up to the podium.
Briscoe, Amsterdam. Evidently,
State your name,
the
please.
information he's got is a lot more than a lot of people in the fourth ward have got so far. Pictures or anything else. We've had different rumors that it's gonna be low-income housing and different things. I walked around and at the corner, I don't know how they're building this or anything, the roads, but right at the corner of Young Avenue and Julia Street, there's the orange marker, so I don't know.
Wait, excuse me, sir,
Those
this
are for
is.
street signs, sir.
Pardon?
Those are for street signs.
This
Those are
is-
the markers for big safe.
I think this is the wrong, this is Forbes
They're
Street.
not for that project.
It's for a different project.
I think that's a different project.
And we didn't get any pictures or anything.
What you're seeing here
Well,
is
that-
before.
Sir, that's a different project. I think what you're talking about up by Julia,
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
This one is Forbes Street. Thank you, though.
thank you.
Anyone else have any comments they'd like to come up and publicly make? Okay, I will officially close the public comment period then, and now we can open up discussion to the board. Any discussion, comments, questions?
Could we have a revisit on the parking for this,
Thank you.
Yeah. sure.
Yeah.
whoever might be knowledgeable enough to talk about that? Could we have a revisit on it?
What do you need?
Where are you planning to park?
Dean Street. So if you go
Can you
to,
show us, can you go?
Yeah, I can show you
exhibit
right-
over there?
I gotta bring the gas.
yeah, sorry. Literally, you can put 6 cars right there. Right there.
It's on the.
And he also owns that if we need overflow. But yeah, so that's where it goes.
Which is
And
across
there's
the
a,
street?
there's a curb cut.
Is that across the street, Tom? Is that
Over
it?
here?
Yeah.
Down the hill.
It's down the hill. It's down the hill because we're on Forbes.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, so we come down the hill, that's it. So you can, from there, what we're gonna do landscape wise, you can walk towards the back. So if you park your car, you can just walk up towards the back.
Is there a drop off at the new location for bag of groceries or
No,
suitcase or whatever?
no. No, and just so everybody knows, I understand the gentleman's arguments and stuff. My mom still lives in the neighborhood, she lives on Fort Katy Street. The properties he owns are old family, so how that whole neighborhood used to work was every house had their own driveway, and then there was kind of that side of the street, always, those houses never had driveways, so those people always parked on the street. So I know the history very, very well of that entire site. So if you were to come with your groceries, you would have to park on the street and unload and then park your car. Or when we get into the landscape design of it, you can bring it down towards Dean and then walk towards the back. So it's an urban area. It's very hard to do drop-offs. The big building, we have it because we have so many units. But the likelihood of like everybody in the building going to the grocery store at the same time.
Mr. Morrow, we own 88 Forbes Street as well. That's that one little red box by itself. We thought about making that parking, but we're hoping we could use that for like a community garden or for the veterans, just garden, vegetables and stuff like that is what we're trying to do that.
Yeah.
But we do own that as well if we needed parking.
And I think, Grant, correct me if I'm wrong, I think each unit is it 1 car per unit or something like that?
3/4 of a space per dwelling.
Yeah, so we make it, and then, again, if the people who are there, let's be realistic, they may have 1 car, but then we have areas like in front of the Purple, there's a bus stops and stuff like that, so there's public transportation. It's, and I give you this, that, again, this is things that we deal with all the time in my office, dealing with cities and stuff like that. You want all the convenience of suburbia, but in urban areas, you don't have it. So it's kind of a trade-off. So hopefully when this, if this gets approved and, I'm more than happy to help the city out with, different zoning and stuff like that, modeling things, whatever you need, to how to revamp those neighborhoods. So.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you have any further mock-ups other than just like the front-facing one that you provided that show, do you have any like site plan elements that show what it looks like now? Is it a lot? It's already,
Oh, yeah, you know,
I really need to.
It's all vacant lots.
it's all vacant lot, and you know what? I took that slack out, to put that one in. But I can, yeah.
I mean, if it's a lot, it's a lot. That's
It's-
kind of all I needed to know.
It's literally all empty right now.
And do you have any mock-ups of the side, the rear, you know?
No, not yet.
Any other
When we started, that's actually one of the, so, see, that's actually a perfect example of how you can start modifying these homes in different ways with different materials. That was one of, so the one you saw now,
Right,
the
this is a
white,
little bit different.
it's a little bit different. So you could take these homes, you know, instead of doing, and we all seen this, yeah, see, there's a little bit different, just by changing the materials. You know, we all grew up, well, at least I did. You know, when you watch the Cosbys and you see the front of the house, you see all the little Brooklyn houses that all look the same in the front. When you see that, it's a modern version of that. But how do you do that in a more economical way? Because I've worked on houses like that and it's ridiculously expensive. But so how do you take this and as you start using this as a prototype and you start rebuilding Fourth Street or any other city street that you see that needs this, you can just change the materials, but the footprint is the same. And if you, matter of fact, if you even go back to some of these old buildings, if you walk in, a lot of the floor plans are pretty much the same. It was just a difference of the porches and stuff like that. So it's literally going back to historical in a loose sense of old Amsterdam architecture, but with my strange view of the world.
Well, the reason that I ask is because it's our job as the commission to kind of see what will it look like from East Main Street?
Yeah.
What will it look like from Dean Street?
Yeah.
And we don't have
Yes,
any idea.
yeah. I see what you're saying.
Wasn't there other lands that are gonna be vacant after this is done, Tom?
Yeah, there.
Other acreage on that same property?
Yeah. Yeah.
69 just got torn down.
Are you saving that? Is that being saved or just trying to have open space?
I'm
green
watching it to
space?
see if it comes up on auction, because
Yeah.
like I said, we're trying to develop this. We're trying, like, I understood what he was saying, but we're not gonna change it and make it Amsterdam better if we don't try.
Yeah, and the thing is too, is when you, and I know what he's saying, and if you read a book like from Jane Jacobs and stuff like that, and what you end up finding out with all urban areas, the more eyes on the street and the more people that are there, the less for criminal activity. What he's talking about, that 4th Street, I can tell you this, my mom still lives on Katy Street. I leave my office in New York City at 10 o'clock at night, walk through Madison Square Park and feel safe because I see people sitting at the bench, people are talking, there's people walking around. I get to my mom's house and it's just dark out. I'm like doing one of these because there's a lack of people. Now, when I grew up in that neighborhood, there was a bunch of houses and everybody there. So you felt safe because people are out, even if they're smoking a cigarette, and the criminal activity goes away because criminal activity happens in isolated areas. So if you start rebuilding cities, not only, we're talking about Amsterdam, but when you start rebuilding neighborhoods in the city of Amsterdam, that's what you gotta look at. How do you get eyes on the street? How do you get people engaging with the street? That takes away the criminal activity. Parking is always gonna be an issue. Every single city, to the point where when Amsterdam gets back to its glory days, then we'll be talking about putting parking underground. That's
Schenectady could change, why can't we?
yeah. So I think that's
I
it.
feel safe there.
So can I ask a
Go ahead,
question?
Amy.
So I asked last time what you're planning to rent them out for. What are your plans for renting out each of these apartments for?
I believe
And
that
what do you need it to be to get the right ROI so that you don't?
we were at Market Valley, which was, I believe, last week when we did this back in December, was about $1,850 a month, something in that ballpark, and it all penciled out. It all penciled out, and the rate of return on this property was about 20%. And the reason, some of it too, it's another reason why this building is becoming easy to pencil out too, it's in my community, like I've talked to many distributors and stuff like that, and because of the veterans housing. Like, for example, one of the companies that we do a lot of kitchen cabinets, they're like literally giving us for the cost of materials. So there's where sometimes if you look at some other builders or whatever, and they look at their script, so ours is penciling out higher in the rate of return because of the lower cost of our purchase price of some stuff.
Yes, there's an occupancy rate to get that to work. And you have to use 100 for the
No.
max?
No,
80?
Yeah,
5 out of the 6, whatever.
5 out of the 6.
Mr. Stewart, to answer your question with the 3, it was gonna be tight, and that's why the bank recommended we build another one. So now we have 6 units at the 1850, and it does work out where the building will be self-sufficient with one unoccupied apartment.
Yeah.
That's why they recommended that.
You should kind of,
Doing a market analysis, our market analysis was done in 2025. And the rent was recommended $1,850 to $2,000 would be the maximum we could get.
are the veterans, are they active service members, or are they discharged? Where is that? Help me with that a little.
Well, a veteran is gonna be, you gotta
Here, by
be discharged,
definition.
or an active duty military member is not a veteran at that time. However, once you become a reservist, then you are a veteran. So when I became a reservist, I was a veteran. When I got activated to Iraq, I was not a veteran. Then when I got discharged or back on reserve status, I'm a veteran again.
There's no housing allowance that they're.
Oh, yeah, there is. So one of the units I'm talking to is NAS Saratoga, which you got the students and you got the nuclear power plant up there. I'm also talking to the Schenectady Air National Guard. And what they get is BAS, basic allowance for substance, which is rent. And it's over $2,000 they get, especially Saratoga, because Saratoga is a higher cost of living. So if you were to get a student from Saratoga that moves here, that would cover the rent and some. I think it's $2,350, I think was the last I looked. That's BAS, basic allowance for substance.
I had a question just on,
Yes.
how much have you already raised? Out of the
We raised the
300,000?
125 from Santa Barbara that we have, and then we had another 80 that we do from fundraisers, the car shows, the golf tournaments that we have here every year. And with that is what we're paying down. So like we just did the geotech engineering study for the boreholes and all that. That ran me $12,000, so I just paid for that. And then other things that we have, fundraisers and stuff. So right now, total, I am 125 plus, I got, I'm around 175 or something.
So you're like halfway.
And I'm
just
halfway
over
there.
halfway.
And I am hoping we get the 300,000. You were asking about self-sufficiency or sustainability. If I get the 300,000, then I hope maybe the city or some investors will see, hey, they're proving themselves. That's the one thing I've been running into is like, you're new, you haven't. But I'm hoping if we do prove ourselves and that we're doing this, then let's say somebody gives me $50,000, I can put that towards a mortgage. And then now we're even more self-sufficient, which is one of the things I want to do.
Yeah, and the other
That's
reason,
why we gave up on the big building, because that was just.
yeah, because if we can get this, and this is the whole, you can call it the strategic plan or debate, or the whatever, business plan, the whole thing. Once these get going, the rate of return and stuff like that, we can start doing the other 3 that are on Forbes that are on the other side. What happens is we'll then have enough money to even start looking at the down payment for the big guy. So it is it's kind of a baby step scenario. And like I said, and like what the bank says, when we first did the first one, we said, let's be modest, let's do the one. But then when we sat with the bank and we started looking at running the numbers, again, this is kind of redundant, but because basic economy means and the efficiency of doing 2 at the same time, it actually brought the cost of construction down. So that actually raised our rate of return. So again, if we can get these 2, then the next would be the next 3, then we'd have 5. Not only have we proven ourselves, or VT3 proven themselves as a nonprofit organization that can do development work, they can also leverage this property because the value of these properties have gone up. That then gives them the opportunity to go to the big guy, which then, through a lot of, like David just said, through other capital venturists or whatever you want to call them, they're more interested then at that point. Just kind of prove our track record with the small stuff.
Any additional questions from the board?
I just have a
Yes.
question for the members of the board. Is that, I never know if I'm doing appropriate things or not, so I need to ask permission, I guess. But when you're redeveloping a city like we are, parking is always gonna be a problem, so you look for a balance. Are we comfortable that we've reached a balance with this project? So can we talk about that out loud? Or-
On their application, they have sufficient off-street parking, so no variance is required.
Fair enough. I mean, is that,
It's on site.
I'm just, okay, so before we vote on it, there's a lot of stuff missing from your site plan checklist.
Okay.
And I feel like it's important stuff, like, your floor plans, your, your determinations of the elevations, but written out with dimensions. And then, and I know that you guys are in the earlier stages of funding, and I totally understand that that stuff is
Yeah.
probably gonna change, but will we at some point get to see those things?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I honestly, I could send them to you tomorrow, because we do have in my office, we have all the floor, we have the foundation plan, we have the first, second, third floor, we have building sections, we have a lot, because once we knew that this was working with the bank, like, this is it, my office went forward, and we developed all that. And in regards to the elevation towards the back, we have not drawn them yet,
Right, or
but
even
it's,
just like floor plans.
floor plans,
and-
yeah, I can literally within 10 minutes give them to you. It's not, I have them literally on my laptop.
Other questions on the board, discussion?
I think to just address Dave's question, I believe they more than explained that the parking is gonna work with the sites that they have. Again, there's not a development, there's not a success story that doesn't complain about parking, so.
Lead agency first, and then-
Yeah, if you guys are ready, we can go through the seeker. We can go through that. And then this project, because of its location, does have to get referred to the Montgomery County Planning Board. So if everyone's ready for that, there's no decision being made tonight on this. But we can go through seeker if you want to do that. So we have a motion to declare the agency.
Need a motion to declare us the lead agency on this project?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Diane, and a second, Dave.
Will the proposed action create a material conflict?
Do we have to vote?
And, yeah, I was writing, I was putting my notes, yes. All in favor, please?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and it passes, thank you.
Will the proposed action create a material conflict with adopted land use plan or zoning regulations?
No.
Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No.
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy if it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
No.
Will the proposed action impact existing public water supplies,
No.
public wastewater treatment utilities? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historical, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
No.
Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No.
We need a motion for a negative declaration.
Okay, anybody like to make a motion for a negative declaration? Kathy?
Second.
Second, Mike? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No, negative declaration passes. And then we do the motion to send it to
To the county.
the county. We don't do this today. Okay, so as Grant mentioned, this needs to be referred to the county planning board, and then it will come back to us for final vote. So may I have a motion in favor of sending the application to Montgomery County Planning Board? Ashley first, Dave second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
The county planning board, the regular meeting would be May 11th at the county building on 5S by the jail. If anything changes, I'll let you know. I think they changed the time to 5:30 since the last time I was there.
Okay.
But I'll confirm that with you. And I do know that the board is planning on looking at the up ahead schedule just to see, make sure there's no conflicts with holidays.
Okay,
So for our next meeting, I'll give you a heads up on when that
all
will
right,
be
so, but the next one we have to go through is the May 11th one in the county.
at the county.
Okay, Michelle, we'll email you the floor plans and everything, so you can distribute. You guys, everyone have that, you'll have that by Monday.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so next on the agenda, we have two applications. They're both from the Amsterdam Free Library. We're going to treat those together. It is a site plan approval for an addition, and the second is for a minor subdivision of the living. So what do we have here from the library?
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole. I'm the director of the library, and I have
Yourself and your mentors.
yes, and our architect Shannon from John G. Wade Associates. So I'm going to let them I'm gonna take the rein here on this.
You guys put the plan on the screen, or I have a copy here.
Right there's perfect.
You want to hold this one?
Sure, if you could. Again, Mike Dussault from Engineering Ventures. So this project is for an addition to the library. The existing addition in the back is about 1,715 square feet, so that'll be demolished as part of the project. There's also an ADA ramp to the north side of that addition that'll be demolished as part of the project. And then there's a stone retaining wall between the existing parking and the existing addition that'll also be demolished over the building. So new addition is a darker box here on the west side of the library. The main part of the library is here. So the existing addition is a single story. This will be a multi-story addition. The square footage is about 3,113 square feet. And there's a first story and a second story, and then there's a lower level that has access out to the west side of the building. As part of the project, we'll be putting a new entry plaza here that will be connected to the basement of the existing library and then also to the first level of the addition. That'll also have some landscaping at the entry point to the addition. We'll have a site stairway that goes from that entry plaza down to the existing parking at the city property. We'll have part of the project will also have a rear patio area, which will be access to the lowest level of the library addition. And at this point, we have ADA access to the landing and then a ramp up to the entry plaza and a ramp down to the rear plaza. We also have a second story exit from the second story of the addition that'll be connected to the existing sidewalk on the north side of the existing library. So we also have some short bollard, like very small diameter bollards for lighting along the ramp on the side of the entry, the ADA ramp off of the parking, and then flanking either side of the site stair, and then some bollards as you kind of approach the entrance. For this project to work, probably hard for you guys to see this, but the existing property line is in red in here, and you can see how it kind of bisects the west end of the building. So we need to, we're requesting that we have a boundary line adjustment and shift that rear lot line 30 feet to the west. And what that is, it's about 0.05 acres of taking from city-owned property and putting that on the library parcel would bring it from 0.23 acres to 0.28 acres. If that lot line is approved, that shifted to the 30 feet to the west, all of the bulk table setbacks, coverages, everything all work out well for the project. No variances required.
So before I open up to public comment, does the board have any questions?
I could, just to clarify, just to note, we did break it in one project, they act together, but we broke it into two separate applications, one for the site plan and one for that lot line adjusted, the subdivision, but they're the same. They're related.
I did have a question. I think I couldn't interpret it. This versus that, you're keeping a one-story building in the final plan, right? Is that,
No,
that's puzzled me. That's for taking that off.
Yes, the existing one-story addition, newer addition on the library, that's gonna be completely demolished, and then in its place will be a larger footprint addition that has a first and a second story.
The section in the middle is, now I'm gonna use your picture here. This is a one-story building, the existing,
No, that is a two-story, and there is some space in the basement. That's part of the original building.
Yeah, so that'll remain.
that's gonna remain, and you'll have a multi-story building in the place of what is now the one-story building.
Correct.
Talk a little bit about the architecture. We've been working closely with the SHPO, I'm a preservation architect, kind of getting their approval along the way. The building's gonna follow the Secretary of the Interior standards. We've been following kind of the volume, talking to the SHPO, like, for example, the cornice line aligned with the cornice on the existing building. We're using limestone because limestone is in the existing building. So it's kind of been a process. We're bringing the SHPO along with this design process.
Any other questions from the board before public comment? Okay. So, public comment is officially open for these two applications. Anyone would like to speak? Like to,
What's the estimated cost of this building, the project? Because the last time they asked for an increase and they got it through the city taxes. Looking down the road, how much more is it gonna cost us?
So I just want to clarify that none of the money that we collect from the tax levy every year goes towards construction. Everything is done with grant money. New York State construction money, which is a line item in the New York State budget. And we've also had some federal money, not a lot, but Tonto was able to get us about $469,000. But everything is grant money. We're not using a dime of the tax levy. The tax levy only goes to running the library.
So what's the estimated cost?
Well, we have to go out to bid. So we haven't gone out to bid on phase 2 yet. We're finishing up phase 1. That came in at 2.4 million. And again, that was paid for all with New York State construction grant money. Which it came in at budget. We were really happy with it. We do have to go out. We're thinking probably early summer to bid on this project. I'm hoping it's okay with a lot of these materials up and down. To be honest, we're a little nervous, but we're hoping it'll be okay.
thank you. Any other public comments? Going once, going twice. Okay, I will officially close the public comment period. And now we can go to the board for discussion and questions.
Any other questions? All my questions.
I really just had one question about the exterior material. Is it gonna be sort of a metallic zinc? Is that what I saw?
Yeah, it's a combination of materials, but it's going to be zinc, kind of panel, and then it's going to be a curtain wall, and then with kind of a limestone base, and then kind of, as I said, the cornice aligns through the existing building.
Yes, Kathy?
What about the main entrance right now? Does that
The main
exist?
entrance
But-
remains the main entrance. That was very important to us. We're going to have the secondary entrance, which will be an accessible entrance and can be used into the public meeting space that'll be inside when the library is closed. But it was very important to us and also the library that we keep the main entrance.
But everyone will probably use the other.
We'll see.
I have a question on the other one because it's handicap accessible. Will it be open all the time? When the library's open, will that other entrance be open?
So typically what we did and what we've done in the past, because we've had handicapped accessibility for eons until we started work. There's a thing called an airphone. That was the old fashioned one, where literally you come up, you buzz, somebody picks up and says, "Can I help you? I'd like to come in." And then we buzz you. Come into the full size elevator.
Right, I just don't know that it was always so convenient for everybody.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and we're looking forward to it. And for like events, we'll of course have it unlocked, but that being on the lower level, us up on the main level, so that's kind of the way.
So it's not changing. Okay. Right,
That was important to us too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important. I can't wait to have a full-size elevator. I mean, we had a magic closet for years and it got scarier every year. So I'm happy about that.
Any more questions from the board? Discussion. Okay, so these two projects also need to go to the Montgomery County Planning Board. So these are gonna have to go there as well. So first thing, I will need a motion to declare us the lead agency. Mike, and a second, Dave, and no vote, all in favor?
Okay.
Opposed? And that passes. Now it's Grant's turn.
The subdivision here, will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation?
No.
Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy if it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? Will the proposed action impact existing public water supplies.
No.
Public wastewater treatment utilities.
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the foreign historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
No.
Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
Okay. May I please have a motion to declare a negative declaration? Dave, and second Ashley. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And that passes. Thank you. And so as this will need to go to the Montgomery County Planning Board, I will need a motion to refer these two applications to the Montgomery County Planning Board. Diane, Kathy's second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much.
Do you need that notarized sheet of paper showing that I sent?
Yes, I thought Robin already got it, so we
Oh.
can, we'll take it.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Okay. So third item on the agenda is the City of Amsterdam's comprehensive plan update. So what's going to happen here is we're going to need to review this and make a recommendation. Everybody has a copy of the comprehensive plan. We all were at the session. So first we'll open for public comment. Right?
Yeah, Dan Gray's here too from
Dan Gray's here?
Development.
Yeah, if there's any
questions, I can certainly
Okay, so Dan Gray is here to help field any questions about it, and I'll formally open this up for public comment on the comprehensive city plan. Okay, I guess we don't have any public comments in that, so I'll officially close the public comment period, and then I will turn this over to the board for questions and discussion. Eddie?
Not a question or discussion really, but it's going to be just more of an observation. If I read through the report, which I have a few times, full disclosure, I did read it several times. But it reads in many ways that the time is right to invest in Amsterdam. And what I've side thing going on with the PUD, people are investing in Amsterdam, with it, Second Street, that 16 unit, is it that the name of the street over there by
Second half.
Second Avenue? Another investment thing going on, it seems to validate the report a lot, it seems to me. People are finding the right time to invest in Amsterdam. The report reads that way, so I don't have anything more to add to it, just an observation really.
Thank you. Other board members?
I want to comment something in favor too. I very much appreciate the focus on sort of sustainable community neighborhoods, kind of what Amsterdam enjoyed in the 50s and 60s. Of, maybe a grocer that you can walk to, neighborhood resources like that. And I really appreciate the focus on that here. And I think that'll line up nicely with the transportation goals.
So when we came to the open house to look at everything and they asked for comments and so was any of that addressed in any way? I don't.
So the next step is, if this, we went to Montgomery County 2 weeks ago. There was no comments there. If you guys have any comments or modifications, you'll give, you'll make the recommendation. Then we'll assemble all that, including the comments and recommendations that are made at the public open house. And then when we go back to the council, we'll present it to the council with those changes and
I
recommendations.
think she meant the dots, how we had
Yeah,
all
we
of our,
do things
all of
on
our
the dots.
dots.
We want to see what the dots did.
Oh,
Just to be clear, I think we're asking about the dots.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
So those were part of that, right?
Yeah, so all of that's so we'll make it, once we put it all together and all the comments that everybody's had, there's some other agencies, DOT had some comments as well. Then we'll put all those together and then we'll bring it back and present it to the city council with all those comments and recommendations that have been made by all the other interested parties.
Do you know when? Sorry, you said that already.
We're hoping the next meeting. So, there'll be a public hearing there for the public can comment, on the legitimacy of the plan or lack thereof.
I have one, I wasn't able to attend the open house. One comment or question, maybe you can just answer the question. You talk about a 1% increase of population, but you don't really talk about what the demographics is, what you're assuming those demographics are, because so much is about housing. How much of that 1% are renters? How much are high home buyers? How much are low home buyers? What's the median potential income of that 1%? Because we're gonna be talking about other decisions about housing coming into this area, even the veterans one. And that type of information would be really helpful to understand as we answer some other questions from the board.
Certainly, and that's based on American Community Surveys trends that they see happening across the country. It doesn't break down necessarily to who it's going to be, whether it's going to be, they can look at the aggregate and say that they estimate, and I don't have it in front of me, but the estimate, if the income for the community is intended to go down or up, it wouldn't necessarily say whether a slight population change is going to be an up or a down in terms of new residents and how that would pan out.
Yeah, only because I read, it felt like there was a lot of people that are already struggling with home costs in our area.
Absolutely, that's the big hot topic subject, right?
Yeah.
Is the cost of housing and related issues.
Right, but a lot of the new things we're talking about are higher than current rents in our city. So I'm just struggling
Sure.
to say, does it make sense or does it not make sense? And I can't get that from what I read. I couldn't get it from what I read.
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to, that would be helpful to be able to extrapolate some of how you're jumping from one to the other when I don't know what that population is gonna look like. Especially because our current population, based on what you said on current, is already struggling. So it's just a comment for you to
No,
consider.
absolutely. We can try to drill into that deeper.
I have another small comment. It'd be nice to have an updated picture in the front of not.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
I
yes,
know.
yes, that was a comment that's been made.
I'm
That is gonna be,
building.
that is gonna be addressed in
That's a
terms
small-
of, the question was, as we go through this process, do we update it or do we wait till we have all the updates we need to have and then move those forward? So we kind of thought, rather than have different agencies and groups look at different plans, we're aware that needs to be fixed in the new plan, but when we get to the final copy, after we have the comments, that'll be one of the things that gets addressed.
The other comment I had is in the proposal or where you're looking ahead for growth. In your key findings, you talked a lot about most of the people that work in Amsterdam don't live in Amsterdam. The people that live in Amsterdam drive elsewhere to go. And you talked about workforce development and workforce training, but when we got to the recommendations section, I didn't see that piece addressed, or I could have missed it, but I couldn't see that being, what are we doing to address that or change that or think about that differently to get more people living and working in town? So I just didn't see that from the proposal and the plan forward. So it's something else to just consider.
Yeah, absolutely, understood.
Other questions from the board? I have one. I was interested in what the logic was behind, we have 5 wards in the city, why in the demographic presentation, wards 1 and 2 were combined?
So gathering the demographic information is really based on census tracts, more so than wards. You'll get most of your information from the census, the US Census Bureau, right? So the Census Bureau lines don't line up evenly with our ward lines. So a lot of the demographic information is based on where the census tracts line up more so than the wards line up. That's why you'll see a reference in there to which census tracts are included in each ward.
Okay.
And each ward's including each census tract, because it's really based off of the census tract data. We wouldn't have the ability to get that deep into the wards outside of how they break down the census tracts.
As a resident of the east side of the first ward, and I can't speak for my neighbor, but it would make sense if we were part of the second ward over there anyway.
Agreed.
It
Feel
would
the
all
same
day,
way.
so we're good.
Any other questions, comments? Discussion.
Can you repeat, when are you going out for public comment again? What's
So the next city
opportunity?
council meeting,
Okay.
I think that's gonna be May 2nd.
Okay.
I'm not- entirely sure, but whatever it sounds.
Saturday,
It is.
So it's not May second, then.
T-Mobile opening day. I got this one.
It'd be May fifth.
Kentucky Derby.
So May fifth is when we'll go to the, they'll do public comment for the public to comment on the plan.
Thank you.
It'll either pass that night or, depending on the comments, it may have to wait till the next council meeting to pass.
Any other comments, questions on the board? I think we're ready to vote. I have a motion to recommend approval of the comprehensive plan as submitted to the common council. Kathy is first and a second, Dave. Okay, now we'll, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did you point to her?
Hi.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and that passes. Thank you. So next what we have is we're gonna have a special presentation, and before, special presentation by New Amsterdam LLC. And before they begin, I just want to say that, emphasize this is not a public hearing. This is just, it's a presentation. So, and if the project moves forward, there will be a public hearing at a later date. So I emphasize that first before we start.
Good evening. My name's Jeff Knox, and I'm an owner of Bill Lake Modular Homes, also New York Development Group and Sterling Real Estate Group. And I'm joined here with three of my team members. I have Krista Swistak. She's also an owner in Bill Lake Modular Homes. Gary Sisson, also an owner in Bill Lake. And Bob Bertel, who is an all-around good guy. And it was his introduction to Amsterdam, which made us really interested. So my history is, I'm a developer in Saratoga County. I lived in Clifton Park for 20 years, and we've developed communities in Ballston Spa primarily, over 2,000 units in the capital region. So we're pretty familiar with development. And when I was in Clifton Park, I kind of knew the landscape. I recently moved out to Galway, say recently, about 2 years ago, and I started to discover Amsterdam. Owning Bill Lake is only 40 minutes from Galway, so it actually made sense. We purchased it back in 2023. So as we were kicking around, I started to just really, this is a great place. Logistically, just from a services, and it's really conveniently located to all the other markets that we were dealing with. And I became interested. And then Bob, actually, we met. I don't remember how we got introduced, but he shared, he came out to the factory. And then Mayor Mike came out, and we started a discussion, and they said, we have this piece of property that you might want to take a look at. And they've been working on it for a couple of years. And I have to tell you, we have been so welcomed by the mayor, certainly Bob. Mike Clark has been phenomenal, Alderman Carpenter. It just kind of felt right. And we're willing to take the risk, if you will, make the investment in this community because we feel this is the right time. We're very excited to be here. So tonight, what we want to do is just paint a broad brush what we're proposing. If you have any questions or suggestions, we'll certainly open it up, and I'd like to hear from you. So right now, the parcel is located on the northeast side of Amsterdam. It's a part of Curie School. They're going to be parting off 44 acres, and we're purchasing it. We're currently under contract to purchase the property. On May 19th, it's going before a vote, and they'll determine whether or not they can sell the property. If they sell it, we'll certainly advance, and hopefully you'll get to see more of us. The process right now, the zoning is, I believe, R1. What we're proposing doesn't fit into the R1 zoning, so we'll be asking for a zoning variance through a PDD process through the city as well as the planning board. And again, that's we have a little ways to go. Currently, we've done the topography, we've done the wetlands, we've looked at basically the landscape of the property just to see what we could do with it, from the topography and from the break. And it actually it sets up very nicely. It's a beautiful piece. I don't know if you've been out there, but it really is a magnificent piece. It feels like you're in the country, but you're in the city. It's really a special piece. So when you look at the map, we're, geographically, we're located, very quick run to I-90. We can really hit the Alton market, the Boston market, Global Foundries within 20 to 30 minutes. It's a very convenient location, and we feel that this is the time. Krista will share with you a lot of the market, the numbers, the studies, to show that we really feel that this is the right time to do a project in Amsterdam. So we can go to the next slide. Okay, you can see you see that delineation line that runs there. That's actually power lines that has a natural division between the part we're buying and the school district, and it actually sets up very nicely. Right down the center, you can see that dark green, the vegetation that runs through it. That's actually a stream that actually cuts the two projects in half, which makes sense. Our intention is not to clear cut. Because of the topography, because of the vegetation, we want to keep as many trees as possible. The other reason, cutting trees is very expensive, so people want the trees, they want the feel of the trees, and it actually creates a nice division when you're living there. So if I get to the next slide, please. I don't know if you can see that. This starts to show you the shape of what we're looking to do. You get to see the wetlands as they're delineated. To the entrance closer to 67, we're proposing apartments, 154 apartments. We have some elevations that you can look at that we're proposing right now. Garrett's going to speak to the type of construction, the quality of the construction that we're going to be proposing, and also the blend. Right. So we have 154 apartments to the top, and then below that's going to be for sale. We're looking at condominiums. We're looking at shared single-family, shared attached, and we're looking to do 31 single-family homes towards the back. So there's 93 for sale homes for product, and then 150 for apartments. If you go to the next slide, please. Thank you. You go to the next slide. All right. So that's the overview. You can see there's a lot of vegetation. When you're coming down Widow Susan, you can see the green pockets as you're coming down the road. That was by design. So when you're driving down a road, you're not going to see all these houses and buildings right on the street. So the streets will be interrupted, if you will, by the green space. So to the north, again, we have apartments, or to the top of the screen are the apartments. Lower will be the for sale product. Something that's really unique and very special to us is going to be the clubhouse. If you see between the two products that carve out off of Widow Susan, we're proposing a 5,000 square foot clubhouse, and we're hoping that's going to be a real sense of community, where you can have your showers, your birthdays, your Bible studies, or whatever you want to do as a community, and we want that to be the heartbeat of this community. So that's really just a kind of a general overview of the property. It all drains to the back of the property. Has a wonderful gentle topography that would be great for drainage. Again, the topography lends itself to the natural break, and I guarantee you what you're seeing today isn't going to be, if we move forward, isn't what you're going to see once we get done. I hope it is, but the likelihood, we have more studies to do. We have archaeological, we have fish and wildlife, we have traffic, all that comes with moving it forward during the site plan. But just wanted to put that out there. I want to have Krista come up, and if we go to the next slide, please, just real quick. The next one. Okay. So those are just some of the elevations that we're proposing. These homes are all modular homes. Right? They don't feel like modular. They have a lot of movement on the front, and we feel this will blend into a nice community. We're calling this New Amsterdam. When I talk to some people about naming this, they're like, Amsterdam isn't usually a market that people are running to, but I like Amsterdam, and I want this to be the new portion of Amsterdam. We have to work on the urban, and I understand that the infill is important, but equally as important is the growth, the land that you have. There's not a lot of land in the city of Amsterdam. And so this is a very unique opportunity for us, and hopefully for you as well. So I'm going to let Krista come up, share a little bit about the market and why we're interested as far as where the people are going to come from and hopefully what they're going to pay. Thank you.
Thank you. As Jeff introduced me before, my name's Krista Swistak. I've been in the real estate world and new construction for over 10 years. I'm an associate broker with Sterling Real Estate Group and also part owner of Bill Lake Modular Homes. So I've done a lot of new construction in primarily Saratoga and Rensselaer counties, but I do have a pretty good sense of market conditions. If you go to, those are some of the other elevations. Those elevations, those would be the apartments. Okay, yep, right there's this. So what I did was I drilled down into the MLS, and I think it's important for everybody to keep in mind that all the data that I'm presenting right now is based on MLS data. So anything that hasn't been entered into the MLS has not been taken into consideration here just because I don't have direct access to that data. When you look at the resale market, it's clear that demand is consistent, but what is missing is the supply. Some of these houses are staying on the market a little bit longer. The opportunity that I see here, I compared to surrounding districts, school districts. This was really based on school district because you're looking at, primarily families that are probably going to be wanting and having an interest in this community. So I looked at neighboring school districts, Mohonasen, Chalmont, certainly Amsterdam, Scotia Glenville, Fonda Fultonville, and Galway. And when you look at those school districts, it's a pretty healthy resale market. When we looked around the surrounding districts, absorption rates are pretty consistent, indicating that there is stable demand throughout the region. Amsterdam performs directly in the middle of these markets, reinforcing that it's not an isolated opportunity, that it's a regional supply gap right now. We can attract our demand to the Amsterdam area by creating supply that's right-sized and right-priced for attainable housing. Next slide, please. Then I went to look at the new construction market analysis. If you take a quick look at these numbers, there's zero new construction inventory in Amsterdam. But there is also zero new construction inventory in surrounding areas such as Galway, limited in Fonda, as well as Scotia Glenville. You have a little more in Chalmont and a little more in the Mohonasen districts. But there's extremely limited supply. New construction is nearly non-existent across the region. So to us, that creates opportunity. There's a large gap there. It's a significant opportunity to position Amsterdam to capture all of the demand that there is. There's obviously demand based on the resale market. So here is an opportunity to bring new construction to the area. When we isolate the new construction across the school districts, we see obviously that there's the extreme limited activity. Several of the districts, as I mentioned, have zero active inventory. It's not necessarily a slowdown in demand. It's really just a lack of available, attainable product. It creates a clear opportunity just for us to introduce a scalable, attainable housing. Next slide. So the supply versus demand gap, again, demand is present, supply is missing. You can see that resale inventory shows the extended supply. And this inventory is sitting a little bit longer. That could be due to pricing. It could be due to conditions or mismatched buyers with what's available out there. New construction, there's not an oversupply. There's just no supply at all. So this creates that opportunity of introducing that attainable, right-sized, right-priced housing to meet the proven demand that we saw in the resale market. Next slide. So what we call this when we have such a huge gap is it's called supply vacuum gap. Demand is present, but the supply is missing. And again, this doesn't mean that the demand is weak. It just means that we're missing product type in this market. Resale inventory shows about 12 months supply. Again, new construction so it shows zero inventory with zero absorption. Again, clear opportunity to introduce that attainable right size, right priced housing. Next slide. Why does Amsterdam win in this arena? Why are we the city that they're gonna come to? This is a strong entry point for the attainable new construction, right? We all are hearing and talking about affordable housing, attainable housing for a workforce. Competitive pricing, the average sale price, there was one new construction house sold in the Amsterdam market. It was sold within the last 12 months for about $390,000. It was 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 1,500 square feet. That comes in at about $260 a square foot. So we have to be competitive with that pricing when we roll out this new community. There's no new construction competition in this market at all. We have nothing to compete against, no zero active inventory, no pending pipeline created an open runway for this new product. We're centrally located. Amsterdam is centrally located. There's strong access to jobs, amenities, the regional corridors, and that supports buyer appeal and workforce housing demand. Again, I'm going to go back to that phrase, right size, right priced housing opportunities. The demand is proven through the resale activity, but the market lacks the new construction product that buyers can choose from. Amsterdam stands out because, again, it provides proven demand, competitive pricing, zero new construction competition. It's not just an opportunity, it's the most logical entry point in comparison to the other markets that I talked about to deliver attainable housing at scale. And lastly, how do we fill the gap? How do we do that? Our solution is introducing scalable, attainable new construction to meet that unmet demand, creating a product that's right sized anywhere from 1,200 to 1,800 square feet that aligns with the demand, attainable pricing designed for workforce housing, and then that blended approach to construction. The solution is a little bit different of a delivery method. Modular blended with stick-built construction allows us to bring attainable, right-sized housing to the market faster and more predictable and at scale. I'm going to let Garrett come up and he'll talk about that blended approach.
I just want to jump in on that for a second. Great job, by the way. Amsterdam, last year, I believe, did about 200 houses a year. When we look at markets, we look at the size of the market and how that speaks to new construction. When I first got started, I went to the Burnt Hills market and we were analyzing the market. They had 3 sales. They're very similar to Amsterdam. They had 360 sales all told in the Burnt Hills market, a huge gap. So the theory is, or not the theory, but the practical application is typically 20% of a market should be new construction in a healthy market. So 20% of 200 is 40 houses a year. That's what Amsterdam can absorb, providing it's within that resale range. There has to be a relationship. If they're $5 million houses, it would be very lonely, right? But if it's in relationship to the 250 market, and if we're 30, 40% higher, I think we're gonna do very, very well. And that's kind of the hope, and that's how we approach it. But it's a great market. It's a great opportunity. The Burnt Hills market was an incredible success. There was just no supply, very much like Amsterdam. So I just wanted to jump on the map. All right.
My name's Garrett Sisson. Krista, Jeff, and I have been business partners for nearly 10 years, and I've always been labeled as boots on the ground, which means I get to lug the material around and make sure contractors are showing up. And as part of the team, I get to talk about the construction. As Krista mentioned, we want to take a blended approach here. First and foremost, anything to scale needs partnership. And when you watch current market and you see an individual builder trying to do a large scale project, you often see construction delays and difficulties getting everybody moving forward simultaneously. So with this, we're taking a blended approach, both modular and stick built, and we believe that this blended approach will create an opportunity to be scalable and efficient because we're bringing in a number of partners in order to complete the project full scale. First and foremost, let's talk about the modular portion. The modular portion, first and foremost, is not manufactured or mobile homes. There is a market for those and a place for that, but we believe that this area really needs affordable housing from the sense that it's not subsidized.
it's high quality stick-built homes, but instead of being stick-built on site, they're actually gonna be constructed off-site at the Bill Lake Homes modular facility. The modular portion is gonna be the primary residential portion. If you look at the maps, you don't need to jump back to them, but when you look at the maps, the left side of the project is primarily residential. It's got some single-family attached homes, it's got standalone single-family, and it has a small section of condominiums as well. And then the right side will primarily be a commercial for rent product, and there may be some ownership mixed in there. So the reason we want to go with modular is, well, first and foremost, there will be an opportunity for vertical integration from the development, the construction, and the sale and or renting. Jeff owns a land development company, he owns a real estate company, and he's the primary owner of Bill Lake Modular Homes. One of the biggest challenges you see when you get into construction is trying to get the developer, the construction agency, and the real estate agency all on the same page and get them moving simultaneously. Jeff is involved in all of those, and the partners are involved in all of those as well, which allows for efficiency when you're working on all phases of the project. Additionally, modular has shown to be faster and more predictable, and it's of the same quality, if not better quality in some situations than stick-built. I don't want to say modulars are green because that's a very broad statement, but they are very energy efficient. We have to follow the code book to a T when we're constructing in our facility, so it naturally makes the houses very energy efficient, very high quality. We are inspected rigorously by both third-party inspectors and in-house inspectors. So you get a very high quality product that's more predictable and typically more efficient from the construction side of things. The other nice part about modular is that while you're constructing modular, you can do parallel paths. And so the explanation to that essentially is as your home is being built in the factory, you also have the site work being done, where conventional stick-built residential, you have to put in the foundation first. That can take time, then you have to schedule all your contractors after that. So you get to work parallel paths here while your site work is getting done, your home is also being constructed. It helps control costs, as we've discussed. This project needs to be done at a good cost. As Jeff mentioned, if these are $5 million homes, they won't meet the market, they won't succeed in the way we're looking to. And modular, because it is more controlled, also allows us to control the costs and predict the costs more efficiently and effectively. And then it gives us the opportunity to create a scalable product. Every year since we've owned Bill Lake Modular Homes, we've continued to scale. And we just opened up a second facility on site. So now we've increased our output capacity at the facility, which is really exciting and really promising. And our goal is not to build extreme high-end crazy custom homes, but it's actually to build very high quality, very market-driven homes for people who are struggling to afford a new construction home. But we also have a portion of this project that's going to be stick-built. That's going to be primarily the commercial units, the for rent product, and we've got a couple different concepts going around. It's not finalized, but we have a number of 16-unit buildings, a handful of 8-unit buildings, and then some 3-unit buildings mixed in there as well. We think it will create a nice diversity of options for both renters and owners, and it will make it more interesting rather than just a bunch of apartments that all look the same and there's no variety whatsoever. Our plan is to partner with high quality commercial teams. There are companies out there that do this really well all day long. We know what we're good at in the modular space, and we also know that a project such as that on the commercial side can be done really effectively through a stick-built team that knows what they're doing and can run their operations smoothly. And then the two approaches kind of create a natural division between the for rent or the mixed ownership side and the residential side. Thankfully, God blessed us with a stream down the center as well, which creates a natural divide, which will be nice because the residential side will really feel like a community and its own space, and the commercial side will also have its own sense of community there with a nice community center right along the edge of Widow Susan. So that's why we're taking a blended approach. And then I've touched on some of this already, but I do know that there's some misunderstandings about modular. So we always take this opportunity to clarify things. First and foremost, like I said, it's modular construction, stick-built off-site. They're not mobile homes, they're not manufactured homes, they'll be on full foundations. They're built with the same quality material, if not better quality material than traditional on-site construction. So a couple different methods of construction in the modular space. We process through an outside-in construction, which means we build like a typical stick-built home. Other manufacturers will build inside-out construction, where they actually frame and drywall their walls first. I don't want to get into too much of the technical details, but we actually build a different way because we believe it's a higher quality product. And we want to make sure anybody who's purchasing a modular home believes in the product that they're living in. We use all high quality materials, CertainTeed roofing and siding, construction grade lumber, plywood cabinetry, and premium finishes. We can go down the entire list, but all high quality. We're not taking back a step on quality to try to get to affordability. And then finally, as I mentioned, tons of inspections, 250 point checklist that we have to go through on every house. We just had the third party inspector there all day today, and luckily for us, we get to pay for them to be there. So we do our best to make sure there's no hiccups, that we give them no reason to continue to stick around. And they're almost always satisfied with our product. And there's fewer delays because the majority of the project is actually built in our facility. It's pretty incredible. If you guys haven't seen a modular home set, I've been doing it for almost 8 years now, and every single time it's really exciting. It never gets old. Watching a crane pick up a home and a home be set on a foundation and button up in 1 to 2 days is quite an incredible thing. The modular factory, if anybody doesn't know, is only about 30 minutes from the site, which is great. It reduces short travel, reduces environmental impact and environmental disruption. We get a lot of modular homes come out of Pennsylvania and the southern region. That's a lot of travel. That's a lot of environmental impact. That's a lot of opportunity for the homes to take on damage as they're traveling. This is a project right in the backyard, which just doesn't seem very common, and gives us just great excitement about having this opportunity. And then lastly, anybody who's ever interested in coming out and checking out the process, you're more than welcome to come out to the facility and see what we're looking to do with the construction on the modular side of things. So that's our blended approach. I think with the construction and with everything we have going on, there's also a local impact that we believe it will make in a positive direction. And Dr. Andrew, you're gonna take that first. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good to be standing at the podium once again. What I'm going to discuss is the financial impacts as it affects our community. I'm going to discuss economic development. The reason I'm going to be discussing this is, as you probably all know, I've been a real estate broker for 37 years, sold some of you your houses. I've been in local politics, been an elected official for about 15 years. While I was involved with the county as an elected official, I had two key components: the quality of life in Montgomery County and economic development. I served as the economic development chairman for the Montgomery County Legislature for 10 years. I've dealt with companies that are coming in and want to site their businesses, their factories here, their warehouses. And there's certain things that they're going to look at. So in government, we're always looking to reduce tax base or increase tax base and reduce the amount of tax burden for what we do on the community. In Montgomery County, in the city of Amsterdam, you have city tax, school tax, county tax, you have a library fund, aside from all the others. So with that said, when we talk to employers that want to come to our region, and by the way, we're perfectly situated between Malta Chip Fab and Utica Chip Fab. Now, Malta's been open for probably 10 years. And when they opened that, they discussed with us here that we were going to be the overflow of the community. We were going to be the people handling the materials and getting things to the site. Well, that never happened. We've had people look at us, and we've had people look at us now since Marcy is going to be developing. And the common question from the employers is, how am I going to attract my upper management to your community? What is it that's going to attract them? When we look at your housing stock, we're looking at 100-year-old houses. You had growth in the 50s, the post-World War II era, where you had some construction that was done, and that met the needs. But if I'm asking someone to move from Silicon Valley to Amsterdam, New York, where are we going to put them? Because that person has a spouse that's going to come with them, or children with them, and they want to see and be proud of where they live. What we understand is that people who are trying to attract do not want to live in a two-family house, a two-family apartment. And they don't want to live in a 150-year-old house that needs $300,000 worth of repairs and takes $15,000 a year to heat. So they want new construction. They want houses that their upper management can live in. They're looking at houses that may be $400,000 and up. This program has the opportunity to go from A to Z. It has the ability to supply working persons housing in apartments, and not subsidized housing, by the way. None of this is subsidized housing. This is all market rate housing. So you heard the gentleman talk about just before with the veterans, $1,850 a month for rent. Okay. That's what the market is bearing now. I honestly own property on Julia Street. Maybe you've seen it. I mean, I rehabbed it, a two-family house there. I have 5 lots there. Okay. I've done a lot because I wanted to enrich the neighborhood. When we worked on the first house for the land bank, it was on Julia Street, and we took a house that was in disrepair, fixed it up. Why? Because we wanted to make the community a better place to live. I don't have any stake in this game, except my community and my neighbors. And that's what was important to me. So this is not going to be sprawl. It's going to be a well-planned neighborhood, a mix of housing types and price points, safe streets, green space, and connections to make it to get to school, jobs, and services. It's going to be done right. It's going to become a place where people choose because it feels like Amsterdam. And when I say that, it's going to be welcoming, practical, and built to last. It's important. We don't want to bring in something. This is not a trailer park. This is a well-built community and well-planned. So when you enrich a community, you want to enrich certain things. You want to enrich a school district. You want to enrich public safety. You want to enrich parks. You want to enrich entertainment and security. To do that, you need to have tax base. Okay? Someone has to fund those things. And the funding in that coming through this development, which by the way is the largest development that Amsterdam has seen in my lifetime. And I've seen Amsterdam from 1963 till just recently, that we just saw a constant decrease in services, decreases in quality of housing, decreasing in the way people took care of their properties, which creates a problem throughout the community. So what is this going to do for us? This is going to develop $864,570 of taxes. Montgomery County tax, school tax, and City of Amsterdam tax. It's also going to pick up $270,000 of water, sewer, and garbage fees. Okay, which stabilize usually your budget. So again, that money is going to reinforce the needs of your community. Your fire protection, your police protection, your school districts. You know, every time when the community needs a new fire truck, you know, it used to be $300,000. Now it's $1.3 million. Okay, and every time that comes, every elected official in the room grits their teeth because they know what's coming. Price of 10 houses for a fire truck, but we need it. So this is a chance to turn a long, underused site into something positive with the right oversight, proper environmental review, remediation where required, and transparent reporting. I don't know if anybody in the room has been involved before with developments, but everybody usually keeps things quiet, right? We're not here tonight looking for approval from you. We're bringing it to you. We're exposing it to the community now to see what we're going to build, to see how far it is away from your properties, to see the difference between being located on Julius Street or the other street and how far it is. And, you know, it's like 270 feet from any of those to the nearest building. So we want to be smart about it. That's why I'm supporting moving this project forward. It's a really balanced and community-minded. It improves the quality of life, expands housing options, and grows tax base in a way that helps to fund the services we all rely on. And I'm asking you to consider this in the future and set it as we develop the framework and the next steps so we can keep this project working for Amsterdam now and for the next generation. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. And as I said, this was just an informal presentation, just to share information with the commission and everyone who's here. Oh, great, thank you. Any updates on,
You guys have discussion on
any discussion, anything, or?
Do we ask questions now, or do we ask questions at a future meeting?
I think you can ask some pretty basic questions if you want to, but the application is not formally before us at this point, but certainly you can ask some basic questions if you wanted to, sure.
Okay, I got a couple of questions, only because I think it'll help you with the presentation you bring back to us. So the first question that I have is, I'm a homeowner here, and I saw that we're 0 with new development, and you want to get to more of a 20% new development with a current vacancy rate in the city of 22%. What is that going to do to the current homeowners? And do you have studies from places that you went into with new development that had 0% new development when you went in? And what did it do to the current assessed value or current sale rate or vacancy rate of current owners in the city? Because I know that's what I would guess a lot of other people would want to know.
I can handle a good portion of that for you, and maybe Krista can follow up with it. I'm not quite sure where you're getting that 20% from.
Oh, because I thought you said 20, that most communities want a 20%
No, they want
of new
20
development, new construction.
In a balanced
Right.
community,
Right,
you usually look for a 20%.
yeah, so I got it from you. I got it from somebody.
But
Yes.
you look for a 20% or new construction for your population.
Right.
Right now, you're at 0.
Right.
So it's actually, it's more than perfect for attracting people that want to buy a brand new home.
Yes.
So the thing is, in Amsterdam, what's going to affect that is your resales. Now, your resales right now, there's been a shortage for the past 3 or 4 years in your resales. So that's what's driven the prices up in Amsterdam from when a house was $65,000 for a 3-bedroom house.
Yes.
Then now where you're up to $265,000 or $300,000. So you have that void. So that is going to suck in that vacuum as well as the new construction. Now, you
Isn't that gonna make it harder for me to resell my home?
know what it's going to do is it's going to attract and it's going to get more money for your house because its inventory is stabilized. Your house is going to sell. Right now, if you went to sell your house, okay, in a good market, the days on the market used to be when I started in this business, used to be 60 to 90 days. Okay, days on the market now can be 0, 6.
Yeah,
And
because we don't have
14.
new construction.
Well, because you don't have any inventory.
Right.
Okay, so that's it. And if you want to develop, you need to attract more than just the resale. You need to develop the ability, look, we talked about people driving for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, driving out of town because they don't work here. But if we drive over on Route 5S and you see the development over there, you've had some really big employers. The most recent is Amazon that's going to attract 560 high-end employees,
Right.
okay? So there's a vacuum. Someone has to provide that. Either that or they go and they live in Fulton County, or Schoharie County, or Schenectady County, or Saratoga County, and you miss out on the sales tax revenue that goes along with it. And you lose out on the increased tax base for paying for your fire trucks, your police cars, your garbage trucks. You look like you're not totally with that, but
Well, I'm still hearing the same thing, which is the vacuum will be gone and my house won't sell in 0 days because there'll be new construction there as competition. But I could be misunderstanding, but that's what I heard.
So from a realtor standpoint, let me explain that. If you put your house in the market today, this project is not going to affect your house, correct?
I don't know, that's what my question is.
It's not going to affect, I can tell you, it's not going to affect the value of your home. If anything, it's going to increase because there's this big value.
Okay, and do you have a study that shows us something like that? I mean, that's what I'm asking for the next time you come in. If you've got any data that supports that, that would be great. That would be perfect, that's all I was asking for. Yep.
Can I just speak real quick, and something we didn't mention, and you mentioned, actually, you misspoke. Amazon is bringing in 750 jobs. The bottling, Niagara Bottling in the Tryon Technology Park, they're bringing, I think, close to 100 jobs. Where are these people gonna live? I think they're gonna buy your house. You know, I think they're gonna buy the new construction. I think because of the lack of inventory, I think all ships are gonna rise. So I truly believe that, and that's why I'm here. I also made a purchase in Johnstown, because I think this area is ripe for investing and for growth.
Hold on, 20% vacancy?
You said 22%.
No, 22% vacancy was in this report, this other report.
Yeah, that was the comprehensive.
That's in the
number.
comprehensive report that we talked
Recognize
about
that number.
earlier. That's where I got that number from, which is the 22%.
That thing is already working for us.
So just one clarification on that, that is vacant units, that's not necessarily vacant homes. So if that will take in, if you have a 2-family house and there's one unit that's not marketable, right, because it's been damaged or decreased to the point where it can't be occupied, that number is included in there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Any city-owned properties would be included in there, so it wouldn't, it's not necessarily exclusive to buildings themselves, it's number of units, right? Or if you
That's
go to the
okay,
housing
because they're
authority-
doing apartments too, so
Right.
we're in that world as well, so that's okay.
Yep, that's all that means.
Okay, I had another question on tax base, well, because you brought that piece up. Yes, I can see the benefit of increasing our tax base, but it should also increase the number of garbage trucks we need, the number of people we need, the number of firefighters we need, so can you give us, in the next time you come, it's not just a fair, we get the 864, we're not getting that all. How much are our costs going to increase, and show me the net between tax base and cost to the city, so that I can really see what the value is, because just giving me the tax base does not give me the net, and I need to see the net more, if that would be helpful information for next time. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Mine's really quick and easy, I hope. Do the modular homes have basements?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
They actually have to have basements.
Yeah, I figured, I thought that was your going.
Somebody's playing music.
Where is the most recent, development that you're doing right now? Where's, are you doing one in Boston Spa area where,
Well, we have quite a few.
oh, all right, closest to us?
Johnstown probably,
Oh, really?
yeah, Albert Aspen Hills off of 67.
Same idea, same mixed use?
It's
No?
more of a straight single family.
Straight single
A
family.
little bit larger homes, yeah.
Okay.
And that's just that's a recent purchase.
Okay.
But
Any other
you know,
comment?
Other communities, Stonebridge in Boston, we're actually finishing up, that was 224 units, very much the same. It's, we have apartments there, we have condominiums, we have townhomes and small lot single families. That's off of Lake Road in Boston, exit 12.
Okay.
That's probably, I would think that's probably about 20, 30, maybe a little bit more than that. Yeah, away from Amsterdam.
Does it look similar to what you're
That's
proposing?
going to be very similar. We'll also do something similar in Beacon Hill, which is in Burnt Hills on Route 50, where we have the combination of we have senior condominiums, we have the twin homes, the townhouses, and single family as well.
And how old do you think one of your developments might be right now? In terms of, in one of those areas?
Beacon Hill, we started in, I think that was 2005, Stonebridge was 2000.
So that really didn't take down the value of any of the homes in Burnt Hills, Boston Spa, Saratoga?
There was huge demand. But, you know, to Chris's point, is her observations that there is that gap right here that exists right here that people are looking for. We just have to be sensitive to price. And as Garrett mentioned, we're vertically integrated. So being the developer, being the builder, being the real estate, we can keep our costs down. Because when you purchase a piece of property, the landowner has to make money. When the developer comes in, the developer has to make money. When the builder comes in, they have to make money. And it just keeps on raising the price. We're in a very unique position where we're able to collapse that, if you will, and hopefully bring a price that makes sense to your market.
I agree with you in the sense that there is no new housing in this area at all, and a younger generation just do not want to live in these old homes. And they're always looking for new development, even just rental apartments. I agree with you on that there's no stock whatsoever here for young people to want to live. I know my children would not want to buy a house here, not because of the city, but because they want new stuff. I think that's, if you ask any real estate agent, the same thing, they'll tell you that in this area. And yes, the houses fly off the market here. Which is, of course, force the prices up, so I think it's a great development.
So Amy, Amy's question raised a question for me. And more of a, over the past little bit of time I've been on the commission, we've drawn the conclusion the city has excess capacity in water and sewer. Is that a correct understanding?
Yeah, we're loaded for bear when it comes to.
Because of the old mills, they were designed for the old mills and all that, you know.
And that's the other thing about it. I shouldn't talk.
No, that's, well, look, we have Mike here too.
Mike can go.
So opportunities to increase usages are.
Sir, would you like? We have it.
As a city engineer.
Say again?
Our
was another
fire
part.
system is sized for industry.
See, I told you how far I didn't read.
Yeah, the gentleman that just spoke is the city engineer.
Where is your module home
Did you get it?
construction site? You said it's not far from your
Mumble.
30 minutes, but where?
It's known as Bill Lake Modular Homes. It's in Sprakers, which is Camp Jahari in that area.
Mike, did you?
Well, just one quick question, more about the process going forward. I mean, you're obviously got a full slate of meetings in front of groups like this and environmental commissions and all that kind of stuff. Is somewhere in your plan, especially with, you know, something like this, where you're introducing a new neighborhood to a city, you know, close to an existing neighborhood in the city and the town, is like something like a town hall somewhere, like, in.
We want to engage all the stakeholders, that's the community, you know, anybody that wants. So I think maybe a workshop session.
Something like that,
Town
yeah.
hall, we've done those before, and we listen. You know, we just don't show up because, you know, we have to. I mean, we want this to be a good community, and we're very concerned about our neighbors. But we want to make sure that we're not, you know, if we can create a buffer, with the other existing neighborhoods, we will. So we're very sensitive to that.
Thank you.
But isn't all that land in the town of Amsterdam?
But that's the city, believe it or
It's
not.
all city.
Yeah.
It's the borderline there.
It is.
It's close.
Hey, Amy, I just wanted to circle back to your discussion on the value of your home. I
Yes.
think your suggestion for reports and understanding would be very valuable. But for the most part, housing drives opportunity for people to work and or start small businesses and or any kind of business in a community. So when you start to put housing in a community, that starts to drive traffic to that area. Now, there's gonna be some people that come to the new construction and say, hey, this is great and we can afford this. There's also gonna be some people that come into the community and say, hey, I like the area, I wanna live here, but the new construction is a little higher than what I want. And that's where then it's gonna actually increase the opportunity of people interested in maybe purchasing a local home and purchasing through resale. So I think conceptually, the idea is new construction brings in the additional opportunity for business, that increases the opportunity for more people, and then that obviously increases viewership to resale homes as well. And then just as importantly, as Bob mentioned, pretty much all real estate costs are driven by comps. We all know this.
Yeah.
And although new construction comps are gonna be very different than 100-year-old house comps, the reality is people are gonna be looking for 3-bed, 2-bath houses. And as the new construction comps elevate, that will naturally also elevate the resale comps. Though it's not gonna be a direct parallel, it will give some legitimacy to the resale product as well.
Thank you for that.
Board, any other questions?
Not at this stage.
All right. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Nothing really new on you. I have one thing I'd like to bring up to the members, and that is perhaps considering shifting the dates of our meeting before Thanksgiving and Christmas, just so that we can establish that, get that on the calendar for applicants and things. Good with that.
We're good with special presentation over.
Yeah, I think we're good with special presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So the dates, that I'm looking, I don't think Memorial Day would be an issue with anyone. Our meeting is scheduled.
They're gonna talk when we. I am so hot. I am so hot. We're not done.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I realize there's a lot more discussion, but we still have a meeting to go on, so if there's conversations, you just shift to the hall, that's
Yeah,
all.
sorry, David.
We don't want to interrupt your public discourse either, but we haven't adjourned yet. Thank you.
Dig out
Yeah, so she just needed to prove that.
We wanna look ahead at dates.
Memorial Day falls on the 27th. If I were ever be set in one of these, I would.
So Memorial Day is the 27th. Memorial Day is May 25th. May 25th is Memorial Day.
I'll be traveling, so I'll be back.
It's May 27th, are you available? May 20, are you available May 27th? It's 2 days after Memorial Day, so make sure everybody's good with
Yeah,
that.
we wanna make sure we have a quorum.
Yeah.
Everybody good that day?
I'll be back that day, yeah.
Well, I'll be back after, so we don't have to worry about that. This one might be a little.
Wednesday after Memorial Day.
Yeah, it's the fourth. So it's the normal date, there's no shift in that.
So it'd be May 27th, okay.
May 27th.
And
May
Memorial
27th.
Day is the 20th, you're wondering.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure that we're gonna
So I
have
can move that there.
bodies. Okay, so now Thanksgiving is Thursday the 26th. We are scheduled for Wednesday the 25th. Would we like to move that to Wednesday the 18th?
Historically, that's like Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we did it.
We all good with
I
that?
propose that we move it to
Okay,
that.
all right, so we're gonna go with that. Anybody that has to cook is gonna need that.
Yes,
Okay, so
week before Thanksgiving, week before Christmas.
Christmas Eve is on a Thursday, Christmas is on a Friday, we are scheduled to meet that Wednesday, the 23rd. Would we like to move that back to Wednesday the 16th?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, wonderful. I just wanna make sure we have all that on the calendar.
If there was,
Just point out that the November schedule is my youngest son's birthday. He played by ear.
Anyone like to provide a motion to adjourn? And a second. Second, maybe Joe. All in favor?
All right, I'm sorry, the 16th was our December reschedule?
Yeah, the week before. It's the 18th. Sorry, no, it is the 16th.
Next time we have to do something with the heat. We gotta do something with the